All right. Good evening, one and all. Ruth Main here. I am a corporate director with APL, and I have been since July of 2020 with them. When I first saw this, I was absolutely blown away at the information that I was getting. And I've been in this industry a while, 35 years. So I've seen a lot come and go. I continue to see a lot come and go. And when I saw APL, I knew they weren't going to be a come and go company. I knew they were going to be around long term. And the more I dig into their products, the more I am absolutely amazed. So first of all, I'd like to welcome everybody from APL Nation to this call tonight. And as I said before, grab a pen and a piece of paper. There are some things that you have to write down tonight. And I know you're going to want to do the research that I'm going to put out there. And the star of our show, this call is one of the most popular we have every single month, Behind the Science with Mary Esther Gilbert. Mary has 4 degrees. She's been a holistic psychologist, nutritionist, physiologist, something along those lines, with a bunch of other degrees for 40 years. So she's been around this industry for a very long time. Having worked one-on-one with Mary Esther, I cannot tell you the valuable information that she has helped me with personally. Just the last 2 weeks, I was eating something that probably people eat a lot of, and it was really causing me a lot of grief, and we nailed it down. And for the last 3 days, I have felt 100% better. I've still got a lot of inflammation from that, but that is starting to go away as well. So if you get a chance, make sure that you, number one, say hi to Mary Esther, and I want you all to give her a silent round of applause as I bring her up here tonight. But we are going to be talking tonight about one of our products called GTS. Now, the first thing that I need to go over is that I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to make any medical claims about any of our products, much less GTS tonight. Any testimonials that may or may not come up are from people that may or may not be healthcare professionals, but they are their own results based on their use of these products. Every person always needs to do their own research based on the information that we're going to give you. And you should always check with a healthcare provider or a nutritionist before you change any or start any supplement. So as you know, February product of the month is GTS, or Get Strength. Get Strength is one of those products that, I really just didn't pay a lot of attention to. Yet I am finding out through my research and getting ready for this call that this is probably a product that every single person should be on a daily basis. Now, we don't have a lot of time tonight because, number one, we have Sergey's call right after this, but we wanted to just highlight a couple of the ingredients tonight. And I'm just going to share quickly, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mary Esther and allow her to just run with it because she is so good and actually can put dust on me any day of the week, which I truly appreciate her for. So let's start with ashwagandha. And Mary Esther, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm raring to go.
I know, and ashwagandha seems to be in one of the ingredients that's in many of our products. And I know you have boasted about this ingredient over and over again, month in and month out, it seems, because it has so many important qualities. But can you just kind of go back? Because when I was doing my research and putting this together, ashwagandha has been around since 6000 BC. I mean, this is not like this is something like even 20 years old or 100 years old. This has been around a long time. Can you kind of just fill us in on the pluses of ashwagandha for us?
Yeah, and that's just looking at the documented time that people have been using the plant. But I'm sure since the earth is, billions of years old, and more evidence is coming about that humanity's been around a little bit longer than we think, then there's a lot of traces and a lot of physical evidence that these botanicals have been around for a very, very long time. They go back into antiquity. So 6000 BC is just one of our ways of having humans documented how long it's actually been utilized by human beings on this planet. So yeah, it's really exciting.
And ashwagandha has a lot of property or has the properties that help a lot of issues that people deal with kind of on a daily basis, just from the toxins that we take in through our food and our water and our environment, and some of the things that pop up in our bodies because of those toxins. Can you kind of just go over those really quickly?
Oh, yeah. So our body has a detoxification system, and anything that does not belong in the body, which is determined by what is read by our DNA. Our DNA is the instructions for the body, and so it evaluates every single thing that's circulating in the body and decides what to do with it, whether it needs to eliminate it or utilize it. So a lot of times people, just get they are eating the wrong things and they become inflammatory, right? The immune system steps in and says, this does not belong here. This is not doing me any good. I need to get rid of it somehow. So it calls in the protein inflammatory responses. And so if it can't get rid of that, then that means there is some kind of deficiency somewhere where the cells cannot function correctly. So the Earth's plants, there's so much scientific evidence that has been shown to alleviate a lot of these problems. And all it's doing really is the DNA is reading the information coming in from this nourishment and changing the cell structures, changing whatever damage has been done to the cells. And so it just kind of does a repair work. It just regenerates the cells properly so that they're functioning optimally again. That's what nutrition is, basically.
And, it just continues to amaze me on a daily basis, just from a personal standpoint, with you helping me this last week with Brazil nuts, of all things, that have caused a lot of inflammation and a lot of problems in my body, which I eliminated them per you. And within about, I guess, 48 hours to 72 hours, I started feeling so much better. And it was something that most people would never think of. And I know you've talked a lot about inflammation, and ashwagandha has a very long history of helping fight inflammation, or helping the body's immune response to inflammation. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's the immune response to whatever's in the body, and it knows what belongs there and what doesn't. So a lot of these phytochemical compounds that are in these botanicals, and we're talking about ashwagandha at the moment. So a lot of these compounds have been shown, they've been tested in isolation by many research studies throughout the world over time. And so when there's peer-reviewed studies, there's plenty of research to look at, right? And to determine which are the most credible studies. So when you put all of that information together, it just reveals how different groups of scientists have looked at different compounds that are in the ashwagandha, for instance. So when they analyze and compare both in the laboratory on cell cultures, just like in the laboratory, or when they do studies that are done on human beings or even animals. So these test subjects are put through, of course, they're safe, they're not abusive or anything like that. No one's going to be harmed. But at the same time, there's a lot of evaluations that these subjects go through in order to isolate and determine which of these compounds are doing what to the body within the cells. So it's all happening at the microcell level. And so, we interact with these plants. Later on, I'd like to show you a couple of slides, just 4 slides, on how the cells really take in these nutrients and what happens at the DNA level.
Absolutely. And guys, I took all of this information that's on these slides tonight right from Mary Esther's book, and we're going to talk about that. But at the bottom, I have a link. You can also find lots of peer-reviewed and clinical trials at the government website that's there, and govmed.pub, so govpub.med or something like that. And it really is fascinating. Okay, now this is where I want you all right now to write down or copy, take a screenshot of this slide. It is very important to me that you go look at this link. And because we don't make medical claims on these calls, and can't and would never, but there's a lot of really important information out there on credible websites about the ingredients that we use. And gooseberry I had no clue, Mary Esther, about the polyphenol antioxidant compounds and tannins that are in gooseberry that absolutely blew my mind today. And, you know, it's like I said, I wish I could go deeper into it, but you guys really need to go to that link and really check it out. Read it for yourself, because I was gobstopped when I started doing my research on gooseberry, because honestly, how many people have ever eaten gooseberry? I haven't. I don't even know if I can find it locally. But Mary Esther, talk a little bit about how important gooseberry is in GTS or in any product.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because of these phytonutrient biochemical compounds that are in these plants. So gooseberries have a class of compounds called the polyphenols, and this is a massive classification that has many subclassifications. And basically, things like the tannins and the flavonoids, these are, and quercetin, all these different organic acid like ellagic acid, all these different acids that the body actually produces with the aid of these compounds. So a lot is going on in the human body that we really don't see, but yet the results are shown, at the macro level. So we take in these wonderful plants and their compounds, then of course your cells start to function normally again. They start to function more efficiently. And so there's a lot of things that go on in the body. So these compounds actually have been known to detoxify, to aid the immune system by actually going in and destroying on their own with their compounds the microbials that can make people sick, like bacteria and viruses and fungi, the microscopic parasites that people get when they're not eating enough plant foods in their diet. So if they're eating only one isolated food group, then there's going to be health problems. There's a lot of a cascade effect going on at the microcell level that if it's not biochemically balanced in your system, then things are going to go wrong. So this has been tested extensively by peer-reviewed studies over time, and that's very important. I always say over time, because there's going to be certain scientific studies, certain scientific science groups of scientists that will analyze something about not necessarily the whole plant, but certain compounds or certain nutrients. And so then they report their results. But they have to comply with these strict guidelines as to what constitutes a credible scientific study. So over time, as more scientists gather data, and then along comes the peer-reviewed studies from a panel of experts who gather all of these studies and evaluate which ones are the most credible and which ones are able to be duplicated. And that's another important thing when you realize that a plant has been studied extensively, and many scientists in the peer-reviewed study shows that they have come to the same conclusions, they have found the same compounds, they have tested those compounds. So it's all happening at the microcell level. And this is what we have to really keep in mind. So it's our immune system that is being aided, the detoxification where molecularly these compounds can bind to synthetic pollutants that we pick up, water, air, synthetic products that we use and are exposed either through inhalation or we put them on our skin, kind of thing. So these compounds tend to accumulate in the system. So those compounds from the plants will help the body detoxify and get rid of them through the 5 eliminative channels. One of them is the skin. Of course, we know the colon and the kidneys and the lymph system, the lungs. So our bodies have all these avenues of getting rid of all these toxins. So the plant compounds have been known to really bind and help the body get rid of those.
Okay, so you said a word and my ears perked right up, and that's binders. As you know, I've had to really look at good binders out there, and there, a lot of people talk about a lot of these cheap binders that you can buy when you're detoxing. But am I hearing that some of the ingredients, including maybe gooseberry, could be a good binder for helping the body detox, especially when it's got the plant DNA, which contains phosphorus, vitamin A, beta carotene, ascorbic acid. I know those aren't particularly binders, but will the gooseberry itself help bind and carry out toxins?
Well, we have to talk about their biochemical compounds that are in the gooseberry, so like I mentioned, these compounds actually have been shown to help the body eliminate just by binding molecularly to these synthetics and helping your body eliminate them. So yeah, the answer is yes.
Wow. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I'm learning a lot about binders in the last couple weeks that I, quite frankly, hadn't spent a lot of time on over my life, that I'm finding out in the last couple weeks are extremely important. The other question I want to move before we move on to the next ingredient is, a lot of people ask always, are these actual vitamin supplements? Now, although we're not saying that they are a vitamin supplement or a mineral supplement, because they have the plant DNA in them, and because that DNA includes the minerals and vitamins that are in that plant, not that we're getting a therapeutic dose, but we are getting some of those vitamins and minerals that our bodies need through that process, are we not?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you are ingesting a nutrient or compounds or a whole food, anything like that, that nourishes your cells, then it is considered a supplement. Besides the food we eat, that those are obviously not supplements, but anything that you add to in the form of any kind of nutritional supplement, like the drops, then of course they are considered supplements. Yeah, and it's like supplementing your diet with even more nutrition.
Wow. And that's a question I'm sure all of you get every day, just like I do. And again, I have another link on there besides in the book that Mary Esther we're going to talk about, but also peer-reviewed studies that you can go read for yourself. And I challenge everybody to go, especially that one on top, that pubmed.cbi. You need to go look at that one. Holy mackerel. And then Siberian ginseng. Now, everybody's heard of ginseng, and there's lots of different kinds of ginseng, but, it's been used for over 2,000 years of documented use, and it has peer-reviewed studies just all over the place. And this is, I think, one of the ingredients, Mary Esther, that more people are aware of. Like, I had never even thought about gooseberry, but I've done a little bit of research on ginseng. But for those people on the call that aren't blown away already by all the information, can you talk a little bit about the Siberian ginseng and the root specifically, and why this is so good for us?
Okay, again, everything I'm going to say is highly documented, in the scientific literature. And in the book, I carefully cite every single one of these peer-reviewed studies. I stuck with peer-reviewed studies, 99% of the time. So this particular ginseng has been shown to improve the oxygenation of the blood cells and delivery of nutrients, again, detoxification. The body actually works very closely with not just the nervous system to deliver information, but also the hormonal system, which produces hormones that they're not just about the reproduction process, but it's also about starting and stopping multiple trillions of biochemical processes, cellular processes. So our body does a tremendous, innumerable amounts of work to maintain our homeostasis or biochemical balance. So the ginseng has been shown to actually help improve performance for high intensity exercise. So anyone who needs the stamina for the day, know that those biochemical compounds in this ginseng are going to work to help the cells produce energy. So the cell energy process production is a very important thing to maintain in the body. So you've got to eat clean fuel, put clean fuel in your body in order for the cells to perform optimally. It's like, a tank of gas. What kind of gas are you putting in your car? And how well are you maintaining that car for it to run, reliably, right? So in the biological sense, it's just providing your body with these cleansing, detoxifying, and oxygenating, nutrient delivering kind of compounds. And also This particular plant has a very unique compound or sets of compounds called the eleutherocytes. And those really accelerate metabolism. They've been shown to improve the conversion of carbohydrates into energy quicker, and they help to split the fat molecules for utilization of dietary fats a lot more efficiently, so that you don't tend to store fats as body fat. You know, if you take in an excess amount of calories and you don't burn them off for the day, you're going to have a little bit of stored body fat end up at the end of the day. So this helps to actually utilize those molecules, break them down, and just help your body produce all of the produce energy for every single one of those multiple trillions of cellular processes that are going on, 24/7, your whole entire life.
I will tell you, that was going to be my next question. You read my mind. When I read helps split fat molecules to reduce fats to fatty acids for energy production, which then in turn takes carbohydrates and burns them as energy. I was like, all right, GTS every single day. And I know people across the call right now are taking a note going, order GTS, especially if you need to lose some weight or help regulate normal blood glucose levels. Ginseng has been found to do that. And when I read also that it can help with cholesterol, see, I think most of us, Mary Esther, we hear ginseng and we think energy, because that's kind of what it's been marketed as. But nobody's ever gone into breaking it down like you do on what the phytochemicals do in these compounds in our body. And it's so much more than just, oh, ginseng's going to give you energy. I just am blown away every time we talk about this stuff. Every time.
Yeah, and the only way the body will produce more energy is if you are physically active as well. It doesn't give you license to, eat more and you think, oh, the compounds in the ginseng will help me burn off the fat. It's a matter of energy input equals energy output. And so losing body fat is a matter of exercising in an aerobic kind of exercise where your body gets into the fat burning mode. And a little bit of weight training too. Weight resistance exercises have been shown to increase the metabolic rate as well, because muscle requires a lot more energy to maintain than someone who's sedentary and hasn't worked their muscles very much. So working the muscles, we're built for physical labor. There's no getting around it. And so once we combine the optimal nourishment with these wonderful phytochemical nutrients that are in these amazing botanicals, then you'll have a lot of energy and you'll have more endurance. So ginseng is basically known in scientific circles as the endurance plant. Okay, so
well, I will tell you, we started shoveling bark at our house. My husband did the half of the front yard the other day, and yesterday I went out and helped him. Ooh, I know I need GTS after shoveling a couple hundred shovelfuls of bark into our planters yesterday. So, and I'm reading the comments and everybody's like, I need to do that. But I want to turn the screen share over to you now before we close out here and talk about how they can get GTS at a special price, to share what you are going to share on really breaking this down for us. So take it away on the screen share.
Okay, let me just show you 4 of my slides so that people can get an idea of what's really going on in the body, how these actually work inside the body. So if you don't mind, I'll click on the share screen button here. Okay, so you can see my screen. You should see my background is flashing. Okay, so let me put up my PowerPoint here and do the slideshow. And I don't see the slideshow. Well, you see the slideshow.
Click slideshow, and then down beneath it, go to the left and click from beginning.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, it's been a while since I did a slideshow. All right, so I only took 4 slides out of a slideshow that I have many, many slideshows. I had to really dig into my files to pick out these 4 slides. But I just wanted to remind everyone that these drops contain the DNA of these plant foods here, in the middle here, and also on the side, the whole food carbohydrates, and also on the left side, whole food essential fats. Of course, they don't have any of the animal-derived proteins or the fish in them, but they do have a lot of the compounds that are found in these different foods here. So, we chew them and we digest, we swallow, we digest them, and the body breaks them down to their absolute smallest units like the amino acids for the proteins, if you're taking in meats along with that. And then also these fatty acids from the whole food fats. And also all of these wonderful phytochemical compounds that are found, especially in the herb category. And so just keep in mind that when your body's breaking these things down and you're absorbing the nutrients, your body's actually ultimately going to read the DNA of these plants. Okay, so that's the idea. And this is what's already been done for us in the drops. That's why I was so excited about the technology. So when we take in the drops, we're getting the plant DNA and the energy producing factories and the protein producing factories that were in the plant. And also we have the phytochemical compounds from the plant materials in this vat that forms the formulations, right? So I wanted to just remind everyone that chew your food if you're going to have all these healthy foods so that you can get them down to the point where what the drops offer for us. And then also I wanted to remind people that let's take the digestive system, for instance. So we have this, typical human being, and he's eaten some food and it's gone down the esophagus into the stomach. This is the stomach here. And of course, the liver is always involved in metabolizing our fats and sugars. And then also there's a couple of organs here that will produce more digestive enzymes besides the hydrochloric acid in the stomach. So it all gets dumped into the small intestine, which is usually about 30 feet long. And inside those small intestines are these tissues. So let's just, I use for the example, I use the stomach for now, but okay, so let's go into the stomach. And so this is the stomach, right? And the tissues that line the stomach, just like they do in the intestines, are made up of so many cells, multiple trillions of cells. And within those cells is the DNA and these energy producing organelles. And if you go in even smaller, you'll see how this is composed of so many macromolecules. And every single one of these molecules, if you go even further into our inner universe, they're all composed of simpler molecules and then ultimately the atomic structure where the electron orbitals occur. So we're really 97% light energy frequency. Okay, so this is kind of mind-blowing for people who haven't seen the physics of it and the biophysics. So also to remind people, I wanted to show just how intricate every single one of our cells and our tissues are. So take the skin, for instance. It's got multiple layers, multiple blood vessels, and fat storages, and underneath the skin, and the blood capillary system that brings in oxygen and nutrients. So all of this needs to be maintained. And if you're eating, non or nutrient devoid foods, then this is not going to be maintained. Same thing with the muscles and also the bones. You take it smaller and smaller. So this is a diagram of our nerve cells. We need the right fats and proteins to maintain all of our cells, especially the nerve cells, especially this coating here that gets damaged. So then you've got, nerve transmission problems at the cell level. So this is a kind of a biophotonic photograph that was taken of an actual network of nerve cells. So it's really awesome. These are protein molecules, what they actually look like. And these are cells that are in the bone matrix. These are all living tissues that need to be maintained, and they require all the nutrients and a huge array of the phytochemical compounds that are in so many of our botanicals. And so you take it even farther and you see all the cell components that are in every single one of our cells. This is a round cell, and of course this is a nerve cell down here. So the body has different shapes of cells for whatever body system that it's composed of, but still they all contain the genetic codes, the DNA inside the nucleus of the cell. They all contain the energy producing mitochondrion factories, the protein and fatty acid, processes. So this is all happening all the time. And that's why it's so important to know what's in your foods. And so this is just a nice little diagram of the DNA called the deoxyribonucleic acid. And that's always familiar to people. But anyway, I just wanted to give people a visual of what's going on in the body. Okay, and then the fourth one I wanted to show you. I always love showing this in my slideshows because, and I might have shown this to the APL groups in the past, but when the genetic code matches the plant that you're taking in, your DNA is going to read segments of the gene codes in the plants and decide whether it can use that to improve the functioning of its own cells, of our own cells. So in this case, they're using a plant in the watercress family. And so they're identifying a particular gene, the COX6B gene, and they're saying it's part of a 12 protein complex. I mean, this is really simplified, you can imagine. And it's just a metabolic enzyme that's present in the membranes of both human and plant cells. Okay, they serve the exact same function. So whenever the DNA in our cells see that it needs some repair work and we're not getting it in the diet, but then if you take in certain plants and it identifies the sequence of genes, then it can splice that out of the plant DNA and splice it into our own DNA, and it works exactly like our own cells. So this is what's so great about the plant kingdom. This is why we need to focus on, 75% of our diet should be from the plant kingdom. So I wanted to point out, so here's the human cytochrome called the C-oxidase subunit 6B. I mean, these phytochemicals they have these long names, they're numbers and letters, and, there's just no way you are ever going to memorize these trillions of biochemicals that science over time has found, right? And so here's our DNA readout. And when it reads the plant cytochrome, the C-oxidase subunit 6B, the same exact enzyme, it's going to compare. And if something is different, it's going to utilize and splice it in so that, there's a match there and there's a match there and there and there. Now, these are just the 4 basic, types of amino acids that our DNA is composed of. And from there, we make multiple trillions of different combinations. So for different uses, kind of thing. So anyway, I just wanted to show you how amazing plants really are for our bodies.
And that totally, every month, that just really stands out to me. One of the questions we get a lot is, why are these so different than everything else on the market? And I think you say it so well about plant DNA and human DNA are so close. Our bodies don't have to break these down. We pop them in our mouth and our body has a party and says, yippee, yippee. But Mary Esther, the question I have on that is some people will say, well, I took this, but I saw an unexpected result. And the question I get is that because it's going to where our bodies need it first and foremost before it does what we expected it to do?
Absolutely. Our bodies have this hierarchy. So first, it addresses the hydration factor, because without water, our cells can't work. And so, and then it addresses first it's oxygen, right? We cannot survive more than a few minutes without oxygen. So oxygen is one of the main elements that our bodies need all the time. And there's actually oxygen molecules in the H2O water molecule. So that's also important for bringing water into our cells so that there's the right amount of electrical conductivity going on. And if you're dehydrated, then the cells start to break down and just are destroyed, kind of thing. So then the body looks for the essential minerals, which are the electrolytes, which make the heart contract and the muscles contract and the brain function. All these electrical systems throughout the entire body need to have this transmission, of communication. So the body looks at the minerals. And also the vitamins, they aid in a lot of the cell building processes and even detoxification processes and helping and rebuilding the cells, particularly the nervous system. Then it looks for the organs. We can't function without the kidneys, which regulate blood pressure and our water balance. And then it looks for, of course, making sure the heart is contracting and that kind of thing. So the lungs, of course, they have to contract and expand contract and expand. And so, all these vital organs have to be addressed first. Then, if we're taking very good care of ourselves and we're taking a full array of nutrients and all these wonderful plant compounds, the phytonutrients, then the body has a chance to look around, to send its hormone systems and its protein detection systems and its immune detection systems to just kind of evaluate and circulate around and see where some work needs to be done. So people sometimes aren't aware of these systems. The body has that hierarchy, and it will choose randomly, what it's going to do next. So it's not always like a beeline directly from what you intend it to do. That's why isolated nutrients and companies who have products that claim, this one particular organic acid or vitamin, nutrient, isolated nutrient, or this particular mineral will do so many wonders for the body. That's not true. That's not how our bodies work at all. We need whole food complexes like the ones that are in the drops, and we need the DNA of those foods.
So that's what sets us apart, is the fact that, number one, people can pick and choose based on their own health needs. And I think we find, all of us, at least I have, found that there are many of our drops that all of us like to take on a daily basis. But number two, I think what I'm hearing you say is that our bodies actually don't have to work as hard to utilize the ingredients in these lozenges as we would if we took, say, a powder or a shake or a pill or a capsule. Is that correct?
Yeah, because they're coated with the sugar, and our saliva contains the enzymes to break it down to the basic glucose, blood sugar. So it goes right through the cell membranes in our mouth. And so we're keeping the drops in the mouth until they completely dissolve. And so that gives the compounds a chance to enter the cell membranes in the mouth. So it doesn't necessarily go through the digestive system. When you eat foods with the same sugar, in food form, then of course it's going to go through the digestive system. But in the saliva, we have the enzymes to break it down to that glucose. And the fructose, the other half of the sucrose molecule, does go through the intestine, but the glucose enters right into the bloodstream. It's recognized readily, and it's what our brain's cells are fueled by. It's what every single cell in the body requires for all of the work that cells do. So it's extremely important to get that in there right away. So that's what the drops do. They sure do provide that DNA to our cells to let our cells, go to work and do any of the work it needs to be done to maintain the optimal functioning of our cells and therefore our body systems.
How incredible. One of the questions that I was asked to ask earlier is, do any of these lozenges, because they're absorbed right into the bloodstream and right into the cells, do they cross the blood-brain barrier?
Yes. The glucose definitely does, and the phytonutrient compounds have been shown to enter that very distinctive, very, very picky cell membrane sites. So the cell membrane sites, I should have gotten a slide out for that. When you look at the cell membrane sites, it's well, actually, no, I won't do that. It's going to take too much of our time next time. But yeah, when you look at a diagram, I mean, you can go on the internet and look for human cells, right? And look at the images, and you'll see how they show you the cell membrane. And on that membrane are protein detection sites, fatty acid detection sites, cholesterol detection sites. They allow certain molecules that are whole mineral complexes and whole vitamin complexes from plants. Again, if someone's taking a supplement that has synthetic vitamins in it, or the elemental minerals that are not going to be allowed inside the cell site, not without a protein molecule attached to it, or if it's in whole plant form, kind of thing. Those kinds of molecules are readily accepted through those very distinguishing cell membranes of our cells. So yeah, it's quite important to understand the hierarchy of the body, and know what's going on in there. So yeah, the drops are excellent for giving you a lot faster delivery.
Hence why I think we're seeing such great results. I know myself personally, my family, my friends, and many of the friends that I have on this call tonight are all seeing just wonderful results with these. So folks, right now, in your back office. I believe it's live. It was supposed to go live at 7 Eastern time. You can get our product of the month, which is GTS, Get Strength. You can buy 2 and get 2 free. So if you're somebody that works out or somebody that doesn't, and you just need that extra boost, or as you saw on the slides tonight, and this is being recorded, so you'll be able to go back and go through those slides, all the benefits of the ingredients that comprise GTS are just so beneficial to us. So yet another drop that I also will be adding to my daily regime. I just was blown away. And if you guys didn't catch it on that first slide on gooseberry, that first link on there, go back and watch the replay. Go click on that link. Go copy it, paste it into a browser. I want you to read that clinical trial that was done. It is so mind-blowing, and so it just blew me. I was stumped, totally stumped, and it just continues to reassure myself and what everything that Mary Esther tells us about these, how great of a product that we have. And there is nothing on the market that can even come close. There's nothing in the same category. There's not anything in the same universe as what we have here. And before we get to any questions, if you have a question you want me to ask, we are on a time constraint here tonight, so we do have a few more minutes, and I do want to answer any questions. But everybody wants to get Mary Esther's book. I already saw a couple comments on there. I know Esther and a couple other people, thank you, already put the link in the chat, so you can go through that. But it'll also be on the recording. So if you don't catch it in the chat, www.holisticchoices.com is Mary Esther's site. Not only can you get the book that she wrote about the ingredients that comprise our APLGO lozenges, but also she has many other books on there and some really great information. And, from a personal standpoint, I will tell you that Mary Esther gives a discount for APLGO associates to consult with her, and I have found it to be beyond helpful. I can't, if I start talking about it, I'm going to cry, because I really was having, I know Tina Malsom knows, I was having basically a health crisis the last couple months from December, and I couldn't pinpoint it. And Mary Esther helped me so, so much. And the last thing I want to share with you is right after we get off of this call. Now, we were going to try and have them both on the same link so we could just stay here. But our owner, Sergey Kulikov, 35 years old, started this company when he was just 23, is going to give us an update. And he has some incredible information to share about a luxury vacation that some of you might have already qualified for, and some of you want to qualify for. So you're going to want to get on that. The link is going to, I know Esther's going to put that, she already did, in the chat. And it's right there on if you take a screenshot, you can see it there. So now let me get to a question or two, because we do have to really watch our time here tonight. If these drops go straight into the bloodstream, Mary Esther, do they? Oh, we already asked her that, the blood-brain barrier. So yes, unequivocally, she said yes. She didn't hesitate. She didn't stop to think. Unequivocally, the answer is yes. Does anybody else have another question? And Mary Esther, well, maybe some people are thinking about a question. Is there anything that you want to add about GTS as a whole for everybody listening tonight and those that might listen to the replay?
Sure. There's a whole lot of things. I'm trying to summarize and decide what to say. You know me, I get going and I can't stop. So I really have to make an effort to stop myself. So there's a lot of things in the body that help your body produce more energy, right? And a lot of times people are so innocent, they'll go on the internet and look at so much misinformation out there, little tidbits of truths and mostly very gross misinformation or incomplete information, unqualified information. So if you want to know the truth, type in this phrase Science Journal into anything you ever want to study about or to research about, especially when it comes to your own health. So yeah, I wanted to say that first of all. But, just also get yourself a nice little physiology book and just casually go through the pages and get one with a lot of pictures and diagrams. Those are really fun. And, if it catches your interest and you have more time, get into it. get into knowing how your body works, and you will not be stumped by a lot of that misinformation that's out there, and you will be able to manage your own nutritional health so much more effectively, kind of thing. So, help your doctors along. They don't have this kind of information at hand. They need your help as much as you might need their help. So, it's
Amen to
important
that.
to know that. Right? I mean, it's great when the two factions, I call it, work together. And so, sometimes the medical system really has some life-saving information that I don't know anything about, right? So, they need us. They need to be educated as much as we need to know how to manage our health completely overall. So, yeah, just nutrition is the fundamental, basic thing, the best thing you can do to save your life, prevent a lot of degenerative health issues that happen 99% of the time is nutritional deficiencies and toxicity, right? So you have to be able to detoxify and be able to nourish your cells at the microcell level and even at the subatomic level, get that energy frequency going, your molecules vibrating at higher frequencies. We can get into the biophysics, which is really super fascinating to me. But yeah, we are light energy beings, and our cells hold light energy as much as they do the electrical pulses that bring the nutrients to our cells.
Amen.
Is that too much?
No. Oh, you know me. I could be here all night and talk to you about this stuff. And I know a lot of people would sit here with us and be in on the discussion. But thank you so much. I love these calls. As you know, they are my favorite. And I hear all month long, people cannot wait to get on and listen to Mary Esther Gilbert. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I do know as we close it out here tonight, folks, you're going to want to jump on this webinar. But our country manager, Rick, needs to come on. If you could unmute Rick. And guys, the link for Sergey's call, it's in Russian. Don't freak out. Just click on the screen when
there you go. That's exactly what I was going to make sure that we said.
Oh, okay. Just click on the screen, and then you're just going to put your name in, and then you can go in. And Rick, anything else?
Well, yeah, today I had cleared my cache. And so when I went there, everything was in Russian. I didn't even remember what to do. So if your cache has been cleared since the last one, just type your name in that field because it's all in Russian and you won't know what to do. If your cache hasn't been cleared, you'll probably go right past that, and then you just need to click on the screen. So I just want to make sure. It's going to be a great presentation. We went over it together early this morning, and he's getting up at 5 a.m. to show it to us now.
Perfect.
So,
and again, guys, give Mary Esther some love. I love this woman with all my heart. And if you get to know her, if you have a chance to consult with her or to send an email and just say hi, she is absolutely incredible. And her knowledge base, guys, is phenomenal. My knowledge base is nothing compared to what she knows. And yet I know more than the average person. And so I'm constantly blown away. So Mary Esther, from the bottom of my heart, I love you. Thank you for this information. Rick, thank you for this call tonight.
Thank you.
APL Nation, thank you all for being here, for wanting to take part in your health, and for helping spread the word of APLGO across the globe. Because we're
really grateful for you too. You did a great job tonight.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody. I'll see you all on the next call. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.